When she did the assessment on Brittany, she did hear some congestion in her lungs. She also heard some faint wheezing.
The doctor left the room for a minute, and then she came back and she had a book in her hand and she said, "I think I know what you have." She said that what I had was a worm called Ascaris.
Ascaris is a roundworm that infests the human digestive tract. When eggs are swallowed, they hatch into microscopic larvae that make their way from the small intestine into the bloodstream. There they are carried to the lungs, where they climb up the host's airways and are swallowed back into the intestines when they reach maturity and breed. Usually, adult worms stay in the digestive tract where they can live undetected for years. In Brittany's case, it's likely her fever made her body too hot for the worms. In this inhospitable environment, these Ascaris worms head for the nearest exit, crawling up her esophagus and into her airways, triggering her cough.
In extreme cases, Ascaris worms can cause secondary infections and intestinal blockages, which can be fatal.
Before they can prescribe the correct medication, doctors extract a sample from the inside of Adam's throat and send it to the Center for Disease Control to confirm the exact species. During this time, Adam keeps a video blog.
I feel tired a lot, so I'm excited to go to bed, but then it kind of sucks because I have to pick the oozing around it, and then it might ooze during the night, and I haven't been sleeping well.
His face just got so much worse. The wound was growing faster and faster. It was oozing constantly. It affected every part of his life. He couldn't eat. He couldn't breathe without pain. It was really, really scary.
A week later, Shaylin discovers something terrifying.
2 new lesions popped up on his back. So we knew that it had gone systemic. It was a really, really hard time.
Every time I looked in the mirror, I couldn't believe what I saw. I was beginning to worry that I would maybe lose the ability to talk as well. This parasite had taken my dreams and stomped on them.
Test results confirm the diagnosis. Adam does have a severe case of mucocutaneous leishmaniasis. Doctors permit Adam to take a powerful antiparasitic.
At this point, I was just ready. Just get rid of this. I want to start treatment. I've been waiting long enough.
Adam begins a 21-day intravenous treatment. But how exactly did Adam contract this deadly parasite?
The leishmaniasis parasite is transmitted by a tiny insect called a sandfly. The leishmania parasites mature in the gut of an infected sandfly, and when the sandfly bites a human, it regurgitates those parasites into the skin. When an uninfected sandfly bites an infected host, the cycle continues.
Leishmaniasis is mostly found in Asia, the Middle East, Southern Europe, and South America.
I was photographing along the riverbank back when we were living in the Peruvian Amazon. I was getting bitten by dozens of sandflies.
The bites were noticeable and itchy for about 3 days, and after that, we kind of forgot about it.
This was the day I'd gotten leishmaniasis.
He looked a little pale, like he might be coming down with something. I put a little blanket on him. About 10 minutes later, I came back to check on him, and I could tell by the smell in the room that he had thrown up. I got him a little rag to wash his face off. I was pretty nervous at this point because he had this headache and now he was vomiting. I thought it was a stomach flu.
Not long after, Catherine observes something startling.
I went to check on James, and he was holding his head and moaning. It was the most horrible sound I've ever heard come out of his mouth. Something was not right.
When they arrive at the hospital, a new symptom suddenly strikes.
James began to talk gibberish.
James!
The doctor became concerned about his cognitive function.
So the medical team decides to give him a CAT scan of his brain. But the results reveal nothing significant. Doctors deliver some unexpected news.
They told me that he could go home, and I said, I really don't think he's ready to go home because we still had no diagnosis.
In spite of her concerns, Catherine takes James home.
His symptoms seem to have come right back. I gave him some ibuprofen, but nothing could help him. I was very worried.
Then the phone rings.
It was a lady from the Florida Department of Health letting me know that James's spinal fluid was sent to her lab and that his test results had come back. He had Eastern equine encephalitis.
Inside James's body, the triple E virus makes its way through the bloodstream and into the brain. There, the virus invades individual brain cells, replicating inside them and destroying them in the process. This causes the brain to swell, leading to James's headaches, altered mental state, and seizures.
She said, there's no treatment for Eastern equine encephalitis. All you can do is just treat the symptoms and hope that the person pulls through. The Florida Department of Health, they actually want to follow James's case to use his data to help them with future cases.
It made me feel a lot better knowing the CDC was keeping track of what was going on with him. You know, keeping track of how he was doing, helping with getting some of the tests scheduled, you know, track his brain activity and such. It wasn't just a diagnosis that come across somebody's desk. They were actually following it and keeping up on him.
Then, one morning in June, Catherine notices a change.
He comes to me and he says, can I go outside and shoot my bow and arrow? And I knew that he's taking a turn for the better.
It's such a huge weight lifted off your shoulders just to see him that much better.
After 3 more months of recovery, James returns to school. And today, the young James Hatfield is back in the swing of things.
I feel good now because I'm not sick anymore. There's no fevers, headaches, or nausea that are caused by the triple E. I never want to see another hospital again.